Oil is the center of Nigeria's economy despite the decline in production and oil prices. So the Congress or the National Assembly has passed the 2016 budget, 6.06 trillion naira in local currency. In current estimates in US dollars, about 30 billion US dollars, the highest the country ever had since independence in 1960. And let's chew this figure together with the economist and director for infrastructure, policy regulation and advancement at the Lagos Business School, Dr. Bongo Adi. Good afternoon, sir. We thank you very much for your time. Thank you. If you can hear me quickly, from an infrastructure point of view, looking at the capital expenditure side of these 30 billion US dollars budget, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think in terms of the capital expenditure, we are also having a huge expansion in terms of spending in capital projects for this current budget. So 1.59 trillion naira. So I think it's also one of the highest we've seen in the history of this country. But as always, the problem is not with the gross amount that is being devoted to infrastructure. I think the major problem will still go down to implementation and budget performance at the end of the day.
Do you think Nigeria can actually spend its way out of the current economic downturn via the infrastructure roadway?
Yeah, that's a pathway out of the dire stress that the economy is in at the moment. But like I said, it's not just about the volume of money that we need to be concerned about, but it has to do with the implementation capability of the government, because at the end of the day, it is what gets implemented that gets to work for the people. But there is no question about that. Infrastructure is much needed at this point in time. Many people, I mean, if you're in Nigeria, you would definitely be experiencing a lot of hiccups in power, especially in the last couple of months. So again, the vulnerabilities in our economy, especially in the infrastructure, have become highly exposed in the past few months. And I think that government's dedication to providing the much needed infrastructure will actually signal their good intentions to really move the economy forward.
Yeah, taking a cue from what you said about implementation, what bothers you? Is it a governance issue? Does it relate to policy, or does it relate to regulations surrounding the infrastructure spending, whether it's all government projects or a public-private partnership scenario?
I think all of that will have to come to play. When we talk about implementation, of course, policy, people talk about policy somersault. That's part of the problem. But beyond that, also.
Those again saying no, the eyes have it. That's from.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bongo Adi, there, who is Director of Center for Infrastructure Policy, Regulation and Advancement at the Lagos Business School. We thank you for your time talking to us from downtown Lagos via Skype. Let's stick with the oil story. Crude oil prices have nearly doubled since the 2016 bottom level, but the pullback a bit has shown, as the data showed, massive supply build-up. But prices have also started heading south. We're around $40 a barrel, giving up some from the earlier gains. Gio Malandrino is Voice of America's Channels TV business correspondent in the city of New York, and she was joined by Matthew Tutu of Total Tactical Management, and they discussed if oil price rally is over.
Crude oil prices have slid this week due to another significant increase in supply. Do you think that anything is going to change here fundamentally, or we really have some more pain in the crude oil markets?
I think we definitely have some more pain in the crude oil market. I mean, crude is way overextended. It's almost doubled in a couple of weeks. And really, the situation isn't that much different than it was back when it was in the 20s. Right. So certainly would expect to see some sort of sell-off here at some point pretty soon.
I'm surprised like you said, that it got this high. You have Iran, no freezes, no cuts. Libya just announced the same thing on Monday, and supply continues to build. And my biggest concern is we're not seeing a drawdown in any of the refined product. So going into the summer driving demand season, that's going to be a big tell.
Well, the problem with a lot of this is we don't know how much of this rally is short covering. And when you get short covering in something as volatile as crude oil, you can see massive moves like this. And if you don't know what's going on, it's a head fake and you think, oh, everything's great. But you look at the fundamentals, and again, not much has changed. It doesn't look like we're going to get this whole freeze deal. And we could see crude back into the 20s at some point, not too far future.
Now, how about U.S. energy-related stocks? There are some good companies out there that are getting hit in sympathy with the crude oil movement. If you were to isolate and look at U.S. energy companies, what is one that you would invest in at this point?
Well, we don't look at specific companies. I look at it more as a sector. So we'll buy ETFs that play the energy sector, and we'll look to get those pops, and we'll look to get out. So we just got out of energy companies yesterday because it seemed to us that the move had kind of topped, at least for the short term. So I wouldn't be getting into energy right now.
Okay, thank you very much. For Channels TV in New York, I'm Jill Malandrino.
Thank you very much for that. Well, let's stick with the oil business. In the meantime, crude futures are down an increase in the U.S. Inventory. The Energy Agency is reporting a buildup of 9.4 million barrels crude stockpiles. Let's look at the trend in the oil market. Adeshola Sumoni is a research analyst with Lagos-based financial derivatives company. Adeshola, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. One day, one step forward, two steps backward. That's what the oil price market looks like right now, isn't it?
Yes.
So, do you think things will remain this way, seriously or somehow volatile, before the April 17 meeting in Doha?
Yes, I think that the oil market will continue to operate like this with this form of volatility up until the April 17 meeting. Because, as at last week, you saw the oil price rally to about $42 per barrel in intraday trading. But today, when the EIA report came out that the crude stockpiles increased by 9.4 million barrels per day, we saw the prices crashing again. So I am of the opinion that up until April 17, where the OPEC and non-OPEC members meet to agree on the production freeze, that the volatility will continue in the market.
Is $40 a barrel the new price reality, the new reality for price of crude?
Well, for now, yes. It's $40 per barrel is better than what it was in January. It was at 12-year low of $27 per barrel. So for now, at least for the past 2 weeks, it has been trending between 40, 39, 41. So yes, I think that's the new price. Up until we see a production freeze, then probably the prices will inch up a bit more.
Okay. Let's leave it at that for today. Do have a great day. Enjoy your weekend. I know you folks will be back on Tuesday. Along Easter holiday, many markets around the world will be closed. We'll keep an eye on all the markets for everyone. Do have a great day from Financial Derivatives Company, Adeshola Sumoni. Let's keep to the oil story. One of the key problems for Volkswagen, the German auto giant, was the diesel deception. That is, the company cheated on emissions that comes from diesel engine vehicles. So hundreds of shareholders are suing the company. 278 institutional investors are suing the auto giant and taking them to court for misleading U.S. regulators about their emissions using the engine control software on the 14th of March. The shareholders are asking for compensations, more than 3.2 billion euros, due to plunge the shares of the company they own themselves. A German lawyer of Chinese origin, Zhang Jian, said that the key to the case is Volkswagen's failure to disclose information concerning the emissions scandal to the shareholders, and that due to the complexity of the case and the difficulty of determining the exact loss incurred by the shareholders, the petitioners and the defendant are likely to choose reconciliation as a final solution.
如果最后认定了大众公司首先有违反这个义务的行为
If it is eventually decided by the courts that Volkswagen violated its obligations The shareholders' loss will be calculated. However, the whole process will be difficult. So the law firm delegating the lawsuits has stated in public documents that it hopes that Volkswagen will conciliate with them. So I think that eventually it's all heading towards a conciliation instead of a verdict, because the verdict will take too long and both sides are at risk of losing the case.
Heading to the final trading hours, the FMDQ OTC securities market for this week cut short by the Easter holiday. We'll be back after the break to track today's intraday analysis.